President Bush is talking tough about the escalating conflict between Russia and Georgia.
Joining us now is Ron B., who's director of the Hostler Institute on World Affairs at San Diego State University and no stranger to us here at KUSI. Welcome back.
Top of the evening to
you. Tell us what's serious about it's so far away, it's a half a world away. What is serious about what's going on between Russia and Georgia?
Well, first of all, Americans, for the most part, think of Georgia, Jimmy Carter's place, Coca-Cola, and if you're a Pods fan, maybe Greg Maddux used to pitch there, but this is a former republic of the Soviet Union. This is where Joseph Stalin was born. In fact, some of the action over the last few days is right near his birthplace. This is drawing a line in the sand. Putin is saying, look, enough. You cannot keep pushing democracy towards our borders without our okay. You cannot push NATO towards our borders without our okay. And guess what? We've said Georgia should be in NATO, and we've said Ukraine should be in NATO. Now, what this means is that Putin, now flush with oil money, a more stable economy, is going to flex his muscles a little more to say, look, we have our own interests too, and Georgia is a place where we're going to exercise those interests.
Some people are saying this was planned to happen during the Olympics, the world's eyes are somewhere else. What do you think about that?
I think that's very possible. This is an old, dare I say, Soviet tactic where, look, fake left, go right. In this case, Georgia may have been involved in starting this. It's a little unclear. The facts are unclear whether they started it or the South Ossetians started it. But the South Ossetians are basically Russians with passports because of North Ossetia being in Russian territory.
Saakashvili, the prime minister, the president of Georgia, what could he be thinking if he's going and tackling the tiger this way?
Well, this is a big question I have because it doesn't make sense. You know that you're outgunned, but you go in, perhaps he had to because some of his citizens were attacked. Perhaps he had to, or perhaps we don't know all the details yet, but the basic response has been an overwhelming Russian force, and they've gone beyond the two areas, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, into Georgian territory. Now they've taken the offensive, they hold the cards, nothing's happening at the UN because they're on the Security Council, nothing's really happening elsewhere other than don't do this anymore, stop. Even President Bush said this today. Let's go back to August 6th. I doubt they're going to do that. And so what we need to look for now is, are they really looking to overthrow the pro-American, pro-Western Saakashvili, who was educated in the United States and wants to have a democracy in his country?
What happens in terms of the United States? President Bush came out today and said, you know, this has got to stop. But really, what is the United States, what's the president looking at to do for the next step?
Well, the next step is to try and stop the violence. Good luck on that. What is our interest in this? We spent $834 million on a pipeline that goes from Baku, Azerbaijan, through Tbilisi into Turkey to Ceyhan, so that we'd have an alternative route for oil coming from that neighborhood, not from Russia. Russia hates this. They wanted that pipeline to come through their territory. What else is at stake? Well, basically, we have been inviting people to join the Western model of government. We have been inviting people to join democratic movements. Now that has gone into the former Soviet Union, especially with Ukraine and Georgia. Georgia is much smaller, so it's easier to influence Georgia. It has two pro-Russian areas, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, so it's easier to do that. It also borders on Russia, so they can push troops into there. This is their way of saying, look, we don't appreciate you building missiles in anti-missiles in the Czech Republic and Poland. Right. This is our way of saying there's a limit to what we can accept.
It's like the Cold War has started all over again.
It sure sounds like it. It's the same kind of rhetoric. It's very bizarre.
Thank you, Ron B. It's always good to hear from you, and we'll have you back in a couple of days, and we'll get an update at that point.
It's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again.